Fats. I mean, that's what everybody says. You shoot big time pool. Now I know why they call you Fast Eddie.
Eddie is the best of the hustlers, but winning the big game takes more.
Eddie, you're a born loser.
He'll break your heart, your guts. That's what you have me, hasn't.
Would you get off my back, Sheriff? Once and for all, would you get out? Would you get off my back?
George C. Scott, Piper Laurie, Jackie Gleason,
Shoot pool, Fast Eddie.
and Paul Newman
I'm shooting pool, Fats. When I miss, you can shoot.
as The Hustler, Monday at 7.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Cinema Arcade. This is the podcast about movies, video games, and the sparks that fly when those worlds collide. And boy, we're talking about a lot of stuff colliding in this movie. Pool balls, emotions, other things. That's the single clunkiest intro I've ever had.
Some fish glide.
Smashing, Steve? Are you
What?
talking about smashing?
No, I was talking
Excuse
about
me?
pool balls
Oh,
connecting.
I
but now I'm
thought
talking
this
smashing.
movie had smashing.
This movie had some smashing. Yeah, some genital smash.
And I think
God damn, I'm digging myself deeper.
I feel really bad saying smash. I don't know. Like, I feel like that I need to be a little younger or older to say smash.
I think what you're getting at is more European.
More European. Yeah, there you go.
Thank you,
it's
yeah.
Smashing.
I think this is a side effect of your time overseas.
Yeah. Well, today we are talking about the movie The Hustler from 1961, one of the least likely films that we've ever covered on this show. And I'm excited to explain all the crazy pretzel logic that led me to connect to this movie and this game. My name is Fast Steve Guntley. I am joined today by my usual co-hosts who are here with me today.
Hi, I'm Justin. I'm bad at pool.
Oh, boy.
Tallahassee J-Ban.
Ooh, I like it. Have you been to Tallahassee?
No, I've never been to Tallahassee.
Let's all go to Tallahassee.
Well,
Minnesota, like when we talk about the real Minnesota Fats, I think the guy who changed his name had never been to Minnesota.
Oh yeah, no, definitely not. Definitely not. So that makes a certain amount of sense, you know, but perfect segue. Our guest today and I frequently podcast with somebody from Tallahassee. So there we go. That all works out. My guest today, very excited to have her here. We are completing the set. We now have the full complement of 30-20-10 podcast hosts. You're joined by one of my very favorite people to podcast with, Miss Diana Goodman. Hello, Diana.
Oh, thank you. I'm good. I feel like my pool name should have Frisco in it because I'm from San
Ooh.
Francisco, but we hate when people call it Frisco, so I don't know what to do.
Okay, is that really a thing? Because
Now it's really a thing.
oh, interesting.
It really is a thing.
Sounds like a cat name.
Yeah.
Is that where the name for the sandwich came from?
I have no. Wait, what?
What
There's a Frisco sandwich?
Yeah. It's like a patty melt.
Oh, I've never heard of this. Okay.
I haven't heard of it either. I'm looking it up. Oh, yeah.
Oh,
That looks good.
is that a regional thing? Oh, I was not
If it's
familiar
a
with the
regional
term.
thing, it'd be really weird for the Midwest. That's all I'm saying.
Well, hey, it's not like the Midwest has never done anything weird.
Yeah. Well, it has sourdough. I think the sourdough is the Frisco connection.
That's
I
the
get it.
Frisco connection.
Okay.
Okay, I see.
How does sourdough connect to?
That's a San Francisco treat
It's
right
a-
there.
That's
That
the
is
thing we're known for.
that's the
I
best.
had
The best.
no
way.
idea. That's so
Really?
no.
Oh yeah, no, that's the. I'm from that area originally, and like, yeah, it's the best sourdough bread in the entire world.
Yeah. And it
hands
has
down.
something the gold rush has something to do with sourdough and us. I don't know.
And it's like there's actually something about like the salty air from the bay or something like that. I forget exactly what contributes to it, but like
yeah.
it cooks
a
better
thing.
in San Francisco than anywhere else. But Diana Goodman is here. We're very excited to have you. Diana is a expert in the world of classic film, and it was funny. I was just writing the name Paul Newman into my notes, and Diana suddenly appeared. Just like what? I must talk about Paul Newman. No, we were very
You mean
excited to have
this-
you here for this one.
The star of Cars.
The star of Cars.
Now,
That's right. Everybody's favorite Paul Newman movie.
This is where we get to have me say once more that I have only seen or heard of Paul Newman in relation to the Cars series or the bottles of
salad dressing.
Salad dressing at the grocery store.
Still good salad dressing, man.
And that is fair. And honestly, like that doesn't bother me because at least the legacy lives on.
100%. And it's like a charitable organization.
And-
like, yeah. Paul Newman was something else, man.
It was like
He's
it was one of those things where I
so cool.
distinctly remember you guys talking about like how like he was so attractive and like so charismatic, and I was like,
You mean the old car?
it's like the old car. Maybe I can see it, and then now I'm like, I can see it.
You
Yeah.
get it. Now you
This
get
movie-
it. Yeah.
Does a good job of displaying that.
Officially, one of the hottest, longest hotness. I think my only hotter, like I think I like Cary Grant more than Paul Newman, but that's because I like
okay.
a funny man. I like a funny man. I like a goofy man.
Sure.
And Cary Grant has the debonair and the goofiness. I like Paul Newman is just charming and beautiful, but almost too beautiful. I don't know. It's just like when you put him in movies, things have to happen that don't make sense to normal people because he's so attractive.
Yeah.
But
One of
he's
those
so-
things where it gets distracting. It's like, yeah, okay, we need to write. It's like when Arnold
Well, it's just
Schwarzenegger is
like-
trying to play a normal man. It's like we have to write around the reason that this is an Austrian giant. We have to
Well-
write around why this is the hottest man who's ever lived and why we're not just throwing things at him all the time.
Well, he's like asleep in the. Well, I don't know. Should we get into it? But he's like asleep, and 3 women gather around to gaze at him.
He was like the Diet Pepsi commercial of his day. Of all the people coming to the window. That's a reference for old people. No, but this is maybe among the best showcases of like Paul Newman at the absolute height of his powers. I think this is his best performance that he's ever given. I think this is the best any human being has ever looked on film. And I think this is just an achingly sad and beautiful and wonderful movie that is not at all what you might expect from its cultural reputation. I'm just curious if how were people aware of The Hustler before we brought it up for this episode? I'll start with you, Justin.
I heard about it when we brought it up for this episode.
There it is.
And I just assumed it was going to be a movie that I wasn't going to be super interested in. But I had hope that because there is a podcast called The Dollop, and they did an episode about the popularity of pool in the United States and like how things progressed. And I was like, that was a very interesting listen. And it was super oriented around gambling because that is basically what pool was known for, was the gambling sport. It was like that in horse racing. And so I was like, you know what? We'll see how this goes. And very pleasantly surprised.
Amazing to hear.
I
Amazing to
love
hear.
the fact that in Music Man they're warning you about pool halls.
They are.
Yeah.
The capital P and that rhymes with T and that stands for pool.
It
Other
was
way around, but you know what I mean.
It was such a serious issue that like states were banning pool.
Yeah.
But they had to like tell, you can't just say, hey, you can't play pool and then make that a law. You have to specify what pool is. And that is why like it went from 8-ball to 9-ball because they banned all pool games and didn't think about, okay, well, people can just play the same thing with 9 balls and gamble over that now. And so they basically maneuvered around the laws that were being created to prevent, because getting, pool sharks getting beat up and stuff, being a little bit more of a rowdier, unsavory crowd was becoming very well known.
Yeah.
And this was before there was any form of like televised pool or like even any regulated pool, because at this point they hadn't formed a regulatory body to like standardize rules for the sport or anything. And so, as you can imagine, that just leads to a lot of unseedy behavior, which we see some of in this movie.
Yeah, that's one thing. I mean, I haven't seen this movie in like at least 20 years. I saw it like a couple times. as a youngster, went through a Paul Newman phase. Well, as a classic movie nerd, mostly because he had such a long career that you can kind of pick it up anywhere. Like a lot of people pick it up at Butch and Sundance or The Sting, or older or younger. And I had a formative experience watching Cat on a Hot Tin Roof as a child.
Oh boy, yeah. That's you know what my big tipping point for him was HUD. Kind of a forgotten movie now, but HUD is so good.
Yeah.
Is that short for Hudson Hornet?
I think it is short for Hudson. I think that is his nickname, right? Yeah, his character's name is Hudson. They call him HUD. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
but
great.
so I used to get gay bashed a lot in school, and I at like 12 and 13, and I was sort of like, I don't think that you guys are right, and I think gay bashing is stupid, but I'm not entirely sure. And one day I was homesick from school, and Cat on a Hot Tin Roof came on like PBS, and if ever there was a woman in the world who could make me gay, it would be Liz Taylor in that movie.
Absolutely.
And the second I saw Paul Newman, I really had the thought of, I like boys.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's really funny because I saw a Cat on a Hot Tin Roof and I was like, yeah, I'm bisexual. Yeah.
So that's the standardized test. We need to just show people Cat on a Hot Tin Roof and see where the chips fall. That's perfect.
I mean, honestly, there are worse ways to go. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like I would go gay for Liz Taylor in that movie, but that's not my first instinct. That's my second instinct. So now I know I'm straight.
Yeah.
Thanks, Paul.
So you could say Paul Newman, in a way, ruined your life.
Oh, totally. Men is troubles. I don't. But
I'm sorry.
So it was, it was weird to rewatch this because I remembered big chunks of it. I remember the overall theme, but seeing how this is a very European influenced drama that is very like, it's not about plot. It's about like characters and their interpersonal struggles, and being like, wow, I didn't remember most of that.
Yeah.
Like it's definitely not paced the way something today would be paced. It's not, unless it was like a super indie, maybe a foreign movie, and it's not paced like other movies from 1961, which is like the West Side Story era.
Exactly. Yeah. Which is still, we're kind of coming out of like studio system. Well, we're not really even coming out of it, but like I think people are starting to diversify their tastes a little bit from like studio system Hollywood, you know, which leading into kind of the revolution. And I think this movie taking so much from like the French New Wave and Italian neorealism and stuff like that, like is really one of those kind of turning points. J-Bam, were you familiar with this movie before this episode?
I was not. I was a fan of Paul Newman because of Cat on a Hot Tin Roof and a couple of other movies I've seen with him in it. And he's very attractive. But I was really interested in this movie for a long time that I haven't seen it because I saw the trailer and it involves like jazz. And so when you talk about the French New Wave, like I'm thinking like something about like Elevator to the Gallows, where you have Miles Davis doing this great jazz score, and the advertisement for it for this movie has more jazz, I think, than the actual movie. And I was a little disappointed by that. But it's just like it's like I really like the trailer because it's very Mad Men-esque sort of situation. But no, I hadn't seen this movie before, and I was it's definitely a lot different and very similar to what I was imagining. It's I can get into it now, or I can get into it later. I don't know if when you want me to.
We'll get into that in a little bit. I want to lay some groundwork on this one, but all of this is to say that like I was familiar with this movie kind of like passingly by reputation, and only as like kind of an icon of like pool room cool, right? Like this is like a fucking cool movie for like pool sharks, you know? So it kind of tainted what my perception of this movie actually was. I thought this was going to be basically Rocky at a billiard table. This is absolutely not that. It's in many ways the antithesis of that, and it's all the better for it. But let's dig into a little bit of the history of The Hustler. So this movie was released September 25th, 1961. It's directed by Robert Rawson. It's written by Rawson and Sidney Carroll. And it stars, this cast, Paul Newman, Piper Laurie, George C. motherfucking Scott, Myron McCormick, Murray Hamilton. Yes, that is the mayor from Jaws. Michael Constantine, Vincent Gardenia. Yes, that is Mr. Mushnick from Little Shop of Horrors. Jake LaMotta. Yes, that is Raging Bull. And finally, Jackie Gleason, of course, Buford T. Justice himself. The Hustler. I've been on a real Smokey and the Bandit kick lately. I don't know why. I love that movie. The Hustler is one of the least likely movies I think we've ever talked about the show. I actually would have missed it entirely if not for the intrepid reporting of our guest today, 30/20/10 co-host Diana Goodman. Your show recently highlighted the 30-year anniversary of a game that has a very real, if admittedly kind of weird and flimsy connection to this movie, which is maybe one of the movies least likely to ever be involved in a video game. We'll get to that whole story, but first of all, I want to take a trip back to the heyday of Hollywood and talk about the raw slice of sex appeal that was Paul Newman. Now, he was born in 1925. He's an Ohio boy. He served in the Navy during World War II. He wanted to be a fighter pilot, but he was colorblind, so unfortunately, he could not do that. He did see some action, unfortunately. He saw some of his friends like pretty brutally killed when his carrier was attacked, so that's the kind of stuff that really stuck with him. After the war, he enrolled in Yale Drama School. He moved to New York and worked under Lee Strasberg at the Actors Studio, started generating a lot of heat on stage. Soon after, he began scoring parts in Broadway productions. And his film career was taking a little bit to take off, actually. He kept losing roles to another young pretty boy of the era named James Dean. Mm-hmm. Luckily, James Dean was really only able to take about 3 roles from him. But I think Paul Newman was the second in all 3 of James Dean's leading man roles. Right? It's East of Eden, Rebel Without a Cause, and Giant. Those are the only 3.
Those are the only 3. I can see him in everything except Rebel Without a Cause. I think he just reads a little old for that. But Giant, that would work.
Yeah, he's more kind of like authoritative than James Dean. I think James Dean really plays the wounded puppy on the inside, and Paul Newman seems too self-possessed in that sense.
Yeah.
But yeah, which is all the more amazing that he's able to like completely shed that for this movie, but we'll get to that. He finally got his big breakout role in 1958's aforementioned Cat on a Hot Tin Roof, opposite Elizabeth Taylor. This was very transformative for both of them. It made him kind of a big marquee star. And it was also, I think, kind of the movie where we're like, oh shit, child star Elizabeth Taylor is now like a sex symbol. Kind of the role she would occupy for the next at least 30 years of her career, So up to that point, am I wrong in the timeline? Was there a movie that kind of tipped her before that?
No, I think that's a big one. I mean, somebody up there likes me kind of put Newman starting to get onto the I don't think he would have gotten Cat on a Hot Tin Roof if he hadn't done Somebody Up There Likes Me, which is a really good boxing movie. But yeah, I would say already her entire life, Liz Taylor was like tabloid fodder, and this is right after her husband died in a plane crash. And
husband 3, husband 2,
husband 3.
Yeah. She had 8 total. Yeah, and by the end, something like that.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. Okay, I have just learned, just from me perusing Wikipedia articles while y'all were talking.
Thank you for listening.
No, I was listening, but Paul Newman was in Slapshot.
Yes.
I've never seen that movie. A big hockey buff and have seen that movie.
It's so funny.
So
I only just today learned that a supporting character from that movie is the physical inspiration for Wolverine.
Interesting.
I've seen their side-by-side pictures, and it's like, the artist for Wolverine was looking at that movie when he came up with the character. So I just learned that today. It makes me want to watch that movie.
I will say
it's a funny movie. It is
okay.
It is of its time, though. There are a lot of jokes that just make you wince now instead of laugh.
Yeah, there's probably some stuff that didn't age very well, but overall, I think it's kind of a fun movie.
I'm making this basis off of kind of nothing other than vibes. But is it safe to call Slapshot the White Men Can't Jump of its era? Great trash talking. White Man Can't Jump is the greatest trash talking movie of all time, and Slapshot seems like it's a bit of a trash talking movie.
bit. I mean, it's about the violence of hockey is a
Okay.
big part of it.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah.
It's like, that where hockey is a place where violence is not just accepted, but expected and lauded.
Yeah. Okay. All right. I'm adding to the list.
Oh yeah,
I'm gonna finally watch
totally
it.
worth a watch. But
Yeah,
it's a couple jokes in there. You're like, oh come on.
Ooh,
Yeah,
okay.
it's been a little while since I've seen it, so there's probably stuff that I was like, ooh, I want to forget that I heard this one.
Well, that one's still a few years away from his career. I think Cat on a Hot Tin Roof was like the big breakout for him. I think the one that's like, oh shit, he's a box office megastar was Exodus in 1960, which was part of the trend of really huge biblical epics. I think that one's largely kind of forgotten now, but it was a huge hit back in the day.
Yeah,
so now it's like,
the politics of it are really not great for right now because it's about the founding of Israel. And it's really one-sided. So yeah.
Pretty touchy right now.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's just giving you some context for where his career is at in 1961 when this project comes around. He is kind of at the height of his powers. He is a fresh young like superstar. And that's when this script crosses his desk. Now, The Hustler is based on a novel by Walter Tevis, which was a big hit when it debuted in 1959. It sparked an immediate bidding war amongst macho young leading men looking for a meaty role. The first person at bat, of course, was Frank Sinatra, who was enjoying a major comeback after winning an Oscar for From Here to Eternity. I think Sinatra could have been good in this part. I think he's too old at this time. I think he could have been good.
Sinatra? No. Okay.
Have you seen The Man with the Golden Arm? He can go dark.
No, he doesn't have the like Sinatra is Sinatra. It's like it like when you cast Sinatra in something, you're stunt casting a lot of the time because it's very rare that he disappears into the role. So like From Here to Eternity, he does. And but it's very rare for him to disappear into a role. He's very often, I'm Frank Sinatra. And I just think that I could see why people would do it because he sort of embodies cool.
Yeah.
But I think that I think he would have struggled with the darker themes. Like, I don't know, maybe
to the character.
And I think they stumbled upon the right criticism, which is that he would have been too old for this part at this time. You know, like I think you need someone to be kind of a kid. You know, they keep kind of referring to him as a cocky young upstart. You know, so you need somebody a little younger. They did go to Paul Newman second, but Paul Newman was signed on for another Elizabeth Taylor movie, and so he had to pass on it. So the role of Fast Eddie was then offered to Bobby Darin, the pop star who sang Mac the Knife and songs like that, Beyond the Sea, all of those things. And he was like, he had the gig, he had the role. But then Elizabeth Taylor was involved in a little project that kept going wildly over budget and over schedule, a little movie called Cleopatra. And because that movie went so long, they had to cancel the other film that the two of them were making together. So Paul Newman was suddenly free. He read the script. He loved it. They offered it to him on the spot. And apparently, if the legend is to be believed, they forgot to tell Bobby Darin. He found out he didn't have the part when he showed up to set one day and they were prepping Paul Newman for it. They were so excited to get Paul Newman for this part, they forgot to tell the other guy that he lost his job.
This is our second movie in a row where a leading actor got replaced.
Oh, which one? Oh, yeah. Lord of the Rings. We just covered Lord of the Rings. Yeah, poor Stuart Townsend. Pour one out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and we still have Back to the Future to come, you know, with Eric Stoltz, who shot a full 3 months of that movie or something like that. Yeah. He shot for a good long while. So yeah, no disrespect to Bobby Darin. I'm sure he was, fine, but it's a good thing that he was dropped from this project because Newman is unbelievable in this film. I think for my money, this is his best performance. The only other debate for me would be between this and The Verdict.
I kind of have to go Verdict, but
you got to go Verdict.
Are we going to separate old Newman from young Newman?
They're kind of very different energies, right?
He really ages into his aging beautifully. He's not one of those guys who's like, no, I can still play 30. It's like, no I want to play older. I'm 50. Let me play 60.
Yeah, he played
Yeah.
Griswold like so well. Like
Mm.
the gap between The Sting and The Verdict is like less than a decade, but he
Yeah.
has aged like 30 years. Like it's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, those are my two favorite performances of his. But this one is just so good. I mean, Newman is playing this character so like he's outwardly cocky, but he cannot hide his self-loathing at any point in this movie. This is a guy who deeply, deeply hates himself in a way that makes your heart break for him. Like I'm just watching this guy, like he is a complete slave to his obsessions. He's really talented. He's really good at what he does.
It's interesting because what do you like? I really liked Cool Hand Luke, but I also
love Cool Hand Luke.
Yes.
I also struggle because I'm there. I know I've seen movies with him where he played opposite his wife, and I always thought it was hilarious because she fucking buried him. She's such a better actress than him.
Joanne Woodward was unbelievable.
Oh my god! With the faces
Three Faces of Eve. Yeah, Three Faces of Eve.
Oh my god, she is like it's wild how great of an actress she is.
Yeah.
But it's like so I really like well, and it's really interesting to see the way he's paired up with leading ladies down the road and these so like with Elizabeth Taylor, with Joanne Woodward.
Yeah.
I really feel like he's a really great, like these sort of roles that he plays opposite these very powerful, interesting actresses. And I really like those. So I really feel, but he also maintains this, like, and I'll talk more about it later, but it's really interesting how he is portrayed often as a gay or bisexual man. And that maintains his masculinity. Oh, that was all over this film. Like
he's definitely, he is definitely objectified in a way that few leading men of this time were. Which makes it interesting. But he's so self-assured in this part. I don't know. This is just a really beautiful piece of work. It's such a delicate balancing act. But I have to. Oh yeah.
Oh, I was going to say, I'm sorry, I interrupt a lot.
No.
A good, when you imagine someone like Frank Sinatra in this part, you can imagine him treating the women like crap. And it's something that he would do. And Newman plays against like pretty tough women a lot of the time and doesn't come off as a pig.
No.
It raises his game, like as a character and as an actor.
And because he has kind of this inherent decency, you're not cringing when he's kind of like being cold to the Piper Laurie character in this, or if you understand it's coming from a place of like he hates himself, he doesn't hate women, he doesn't hate. He's not a misogynist. He is depressed.
Yeah,
you know,
and she is a woman with the lowest self-esteem in the universe.
What a heartbreaking performance!
He takes some advantage of her, but not all the advantage of her. And then she even points out, like, yeah, I know where this is going to go. Eventually you're going to try to pimp me out, aren't you? And he hits her.
Yeah.
But also you're like, I don't like that you hit her, but also I like that made you mad, that you're not going to do that.
Right. Yeah.
It's a weird moment. It is a hard moment to sit with.
It's a complex moment. Yeah. This is a very subtly like difficult movie in that way, which is why it was kind of astonishing that the second lead of this film is Jackie Gleason. Okay, so Jackie Gleason at this time is pretty much only known as a comedian. I think The Honeymooners had just ended not too long before this, and The Honeymooners, if y'all aren't familiar, is just one of the formative sitcoms of all time. Is like one of the most important like pieces of television of all time, and he's known for these big, broad, like physical performances, and he is cast here to play the role of Minnesota Fats, who I think I miscategorized last week as the villain of the film. He's not the villain of the film, really, in any way at all. He's the rival. Yeah. He's the rival for sure, but he's not like he's kind of this object of obsession. And I love how Gleason plays everything so close to the chest. Like this is a guy, you could see why you would idolize this guy, because he has his shit together in a way that Fast Eddie never will. And it's kind of like, that's the thing that really gets under his skin, is how much this guy can, like, how much this guy doesn't need to play pool.
They, one of the general gist of the movie is that Eddie is a pool hustler and learns about this guy, Minnesota Fats. And he's like, basically, like, he's the best. I want to take him on. And, this is like not even halfway through the movie. They have a marathon of a pool game.
40 hours.
40 hours. They just keep playing over and over again, betting a little bit more and a little bit more and a little bit more. And as it goes on, it starts off with Eddie winning and like going gangbusters. But then slowly over time, he becomes, like we've kind of mentioned, his own worst enemy. He's struggling. You can see he's feeling rough. He's
a
not
horrible
really,
alcoholic. And
he's been chugging it the whole time. He's not he's not up to par. And then it periodically cuts over to Jackie Gleason, who's just like, washing his hands, tidying himself up a little bit. Meanwhile, Paul Newman, Eddie, is like disheveled and like sweat stained, and Minnesota Fats has still got his suit jacket on, and still looks exactly as good as he did when he came in.
Yeah, I've never noticed the detail. I remember him always like fixing his suit and looking nice. That like he goes to the bathroom, he doesn't just wash his hands; he uses a nail brush. Yeah. And it's like, that is so fastidious. What a great detail.
And it looks cool as hell to have him go. You're just like, man, I would be so intimidated by that guy. He is
not only
fussed.
Not only is it cool as hell, but it also becomes one of the main like plot motivative things, which is Minnesota Fats ends up winning the money back because of his composure and his ability to keep himself and to let somebody fall apart in front of him. He kind of knows what's going on. He's a hustler. He's been doing this for a long time. He's playing the game. And then the lack of composure that Eddie has becomes a prominent part of the movie, where he is then, it's said to him on multiple times by the true villain of this movie, Bert.
Yeah, played by George C. Scott, who I'll have a few minutes on him in a second.
Yeah, and Bert even outright says, like, you have the talent, you don't have the character.
Yeah,
and that hits,
that guy's a piece of shit. That guy's a piece of shit. Like,
hugely
a piece of shit.
That is not that's he's hustling Paul Newman. Like he's hustling Fast Eddie because he manipulates people's character. But like
he's not fully wrong when he says it.
No,
His
he's not.
motivations are
he
terrible,
recognizes. Yeah, he recognizes Eddie's flaws, and Eddie is self-destructive. He knows. Like, we spend so much time when we get to the end of that tournament. That's such an incredible scene, and we're just watching him like he's being goaded into betting the last little bit of money. He could walk away from this tournament a champion. He could walk away and go to bed and be fine, but he's being challenged once again, and he knows he's tired, he knows he's drunk, he knows he's out of it, and he takes the bet anyway, and it destroys him, and he knows he shouldn't, and we see it on his face that he knows he shouldn't, but he's going to do it anyway because he hates himself. That's such an incredible moment.
Yeah, and it shows in his relationship with Sarah of like, he is struggling with himself, not with other people. And while he does have this obsession with Minnesota Fats, that is a flaw of him. That is the reason that this is happening. That is why this is going on. And so it's like Bert says the words, and you're like, yeah, I mean, I can see it. Like, Fats, like you said, has his stuff together. He's a very well composed person. Eddie is flying by the seat of his pants half the time. And that just makes everything that happens hit so much more.
It really does. I
Mhm.
mean, we mentioned George C. Scott. I have to shout him out. He's playing Bert here. This is fairly early in his film career. He's a big theater star at this time. Kind of like one of the most famous bastards alive, in terms of just that was a man with some rage issues, and
Mhm.
he was notorious for getting into bar brawls and for like fighting with his directors and fighting with his castmates, and just a real pain in the ass. This movie gets him his first Oscar nomination. It's also the first time he rejects an Oscar nomination. He would eventually
right.
win Best Actor for the movie Patton in 1970, which he would reject. He's the first, and I believe still only actor to actually reject their Academy Award.
I think so. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
he's just kind of a wild, crazy, principled guy like that. But he had a really long career, an amazing body of work. I mean, Doctor Strangelove alone puts him on the Mount Rushmore. Like, that is an unbelievable performance. But like, he even had this amazing little run of like 70s kind of sleaze movies. Like Hardcore is amazing. The Changeling is so cool. Like, he had a great little run. But I love George C. Scott.
3.
It's what?
Exorcist 3. Yeah.
Exorcist 3 is fucking dope. Oh my god.
It's really good. That's one of those things that I never bothered watching until I started doing 30-20-10 and it came up, watched it, and I was like, well, crap, that was actually really good.
And you're not like a horror person either. So that one must have hit you pretty hard. Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you watched Sinister yet?
No.
Are you ever going to watch Sinister?
I still have refused to watch Sinister.
Oh, Sinister will fuck you up so good. It's so good.
So fun.
I don't want to.
I won't guilt you into it. I won't.
I will say it's not. I didn't find it scary.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, that's what I've heard. It's not scary. It's disturbing.
Yeah.
Like, oh man, that means it's gonna stick with me.
Curious. This is way off topic. I'm just curious. Did you catch The Substance?
Yes.
You did? Okay.
Yes.
Did you like that one?
I really did.
I loved The Substance so much. Yeah. Okay. It's so gross, but yeah, I was just curious if you got to that one. Yeah.
Yep.
But yeah, George C. Scott, we shouted him out. We also need to talk about Piper Laurie, who is all of 28 years old when she makes this movie. Already a 10-year screen and stage actress, already like has a bunch of credits under her belt. She's kind of got more acting credits than Paul Newman at this point. Unbelievable performance. I was mostly only familiar with her from Twin Peaks and as the mom from Carrie.
Totally. Yeah.
Two incredibly iconic roles, obviously, but you forget what a restrained actress she can be. Like she's big in that like 60s kind of theatrical way. Like she definitely emotes and but she can rein it in. And I think this character is such a heartbreaker. I mean, such a sad human, and you just want to reach into the screen and give her a hug. And
I have to say something about the interaction between Fast Eddie picking up Sarah Packard.
Yeah.
There's a line where I just feel like where movies, like I sometimes glamorize pre-code movies because they can be very erotic without saying anything. And definitely like there's a line where she's like, do you want me to come out back out? Do you want me to go out to the alley? When he's like propositioning her and she's all like, what, do you want to fuck in the alley? And it's just like, you're like, oh fuck.
Yeah.
Oh fuck. They're going there.
Yeah.
And there's like no, like there's just like, and it's just like it's shocking, and it's like because the fact that she has to reject him the first time because like Hollywood wouldn't let her like this is the most promiscuous that they would allow a character to be at the time, and
we're kind of at the tail end of like Hays Code stuff.
Yeah.
And she dies, so she gets her comeuppance for her promiscuity. But like it's like Paul Newman is just like picking somebody up at what I believe 6 or 8 a.m. In a bus station, and then like it's wildly bold. It's just like brass balls.
And
yeah,
that's where it helps when you cast a guy that looks like Paul Newman, because that's the one
Yeah.
person you can see picking somebody up at 6 a.m. at a bus station.
yeah.
Not only
exactly.
that, but also while this happens immediately after the 40 hours of pool, where he straight up like is charming and then falls asleep.
He must smell so bad.
Oh God.
My lord, between the rot gut whiskey and the BO, and yet I'd still hit it. I don't know what to say. I don't know.
It's like when he, well, and I feel like this is something I love about Cat on a Hot Tin Roof and Streetcar Named Desire and movies of this era in the black and white, the way they would use shutters to be like, oh look, we're closing this shutter. Clearly, we're fucking.
Curtains billow.
Well, and it's just like, and it's like he says to her, literally, they hook up, and he's all like, "I'll go get my stuff." You're moving in. You're moving in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Morning one. He's like, yeah, I'll get my stuff from the hotel. I'll be back.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But no, it's,
Bold
I mean,
strategy.
this was
U-Haul straight
very.
people. Yeah.
It is very. I mean, it's very raw and risque at the time. Also
yeah.
implying like, this is not her first rodeo with this sort of situation. She's had a bunch of guys come and go, and they came and they stayed and they did all kinds of sexy stuff and they drank a lot and then they wander off.
Yeah.
And she hates herself
And-
about everything. And so much of her stuff is like, oh, it's because I'm a cripple. And it's like, you have a little bit of a limp.
Yeah.
And she's like, I'm not even human. You're like, honey, you're awesome. Shut up.
Yeah. And you get so much about who she is and what she's been through without, like, the movie doesn't really spell out what she's really been through, or what she's going through, but like you see it on her face. It's just such a deeply felt performance and it's just so lovely. But
like something between both Jackie Gleason, Paul Newman, and what was her name again?
Piper Laurie.
Said it. Piper Laurie. Their eyes.
Incredible.
They're good at using their eyes.
Yeah.
There's a part that I was really paying attention to Jackie Gleason near the end of the movie where Paul Newman has kind of a monologue, and during that it's a thing of like Eddie is ripping into somebody else and Minnesota Fats is kind of there but understands the situation fully and kind of where he's coming from, and you just every time it cuts over to Minnesota Fats, eyes like gently averted, but at the same time you can still kind of see that in his eyes of just like, it's like a thing of like, on one hand I kind of don't want to be here, but on the other hand, like, I get where this kid's coming from.
He gets it. He's been through this. Like, maybe this is like the best case scenario is ending up like Minnesota Fats, where you are respected and you're still good at your game and you have everything under control. But I mean,
Paul Newman and Piper Laurie also, and it's a lot of their scenes together. They do such a good job with like not just their faces but also their eyes too. Of like really feeling some of those emotions. Like certain parts of the movie, you feel the self-loathing from both characters at the same time, at different times. It is just great.
Yeah. Hold on a sec. I'm going to drop out and drop back in. Just
okay. Yeah, no problem. I mean,
okay.
Welcome back. The weirdly, the movie that this kept making me think of the most, and they have really nothing thematically connected to each other, is Saturday Night Fever, which is a movie that I think gets kind of boiled down to its couple of iconic signature moments. Like, if you don't know anything about The Hustler other than like the poster or like the DVD cover or something like that, you think this is a movie about pool players, which like that's a large part of it. But this is not like I said, this is not Rocky with pool. At Saturday Night Fever is not a dance movie. It is a movie about a deeply misogynistic, very unhappy young man who just happens to be a very good dancer. And there's like 3 minutes of dancing in that entire movie. So I feel like this is a movie that gets kind of boiled down to that cultural reputation. But like look at the world that they're building in this movie and how incredible it is. Notice that, like, anytime we go into a pool hall, what's the one thing we don't hear? Laughter. There's no joy in these pool halls. Nobody's having. Think about that. Like, if you go into a bar these days, you're hearing a jukebox playing, you're hearing people like laughing and joking and cracking pool balls and stuff like that. You don't hear that in this movie because these people are not here to have fun. These people are deeply serious. They are obsessive. When he's playing pool with Minnesota Fats, he's surrounded by all these guys, and they're not cheering, they're not applauding, they're not doing anything. They're monastic and silent and observing this like it's this
Something
ritual.
that I did notice is that that changes in the final go at Minnesota Fats, where people start applauding.
Yeah,
Eddie makes good shots. People are clapping. Before, people were just like, we're about to watch this guy get hooked so bad. And this time they're like, they feel the change that has happened too, of like, oh, this is kind of a different guy than the first time. We don't know what this outcome is going to be, and we can actually now enjoy this instead of knowing we're about to watch some kid get chewed up and spit out.
And we should get a little historical context for this too. A little bit. The director, Robert Rossen, great filmmaker. He directed the Best Picture winner, All the President's Men, I think in 46, 47, somewhere around there. Incredible movie. But he named names during the HUAC committee. And it's like him, and this is such an interesting counterpoint to something like On the Waterfront, right? Because Elia Kazan also named names. On the Waterfront is this very defiant movie about like, I was right and I'm standing my ground. I'm not going to be intimidated by you thugs. Robert Rossen felt pretty horrible about having to be compelled into like naming his friends and like saying all these different things. I think that's why this movie is so laden with guilt. I think he's atoning here in a way that Elia Kazan never really did. I don't know. Am I way off the mark? Am I misreading that?
I can see that.
Huh.
Yeah, I can see that. I'm just like, yeah, I made a mistake. I hate myself. I need to build myself back up.
Yeah, this whole idea of being like a born loser, you know, that's being built into Eddie this entire time, you know, and his losing is kind of like a sickness that he needs to shed. And unfortunately, it takes the horrible suicide of Sarah to kind of push him beyond that breaking point. Sorry, what were you saying, Jamin?
So there's a couple of things that I wanted to talk about. First of all, I do feel like the guilt. There's something about this, like the title of this movie. It's called Hustler. This movie is about con men, and they sort of mitigate Paul Newman's con man-esqueness. Because he's Paul Newman, but he is a con man. He goes into these things. He pretends to be something that he's not, and so what he's doing throughout the film is it's only when he starts to be what he is and to stand up to challenges that he's facing, like when he plays billiards instead of pool, and when he does Minnesota Fats as an equal, not as somebody who's trying to take Minnesota Fats. And like it's only when he sheds his con man attitude does he actually sort of stand up for himself. But his con manness, he's like there's like this level. They talk a little bit like, oh, I never conned you, but in a large way they conned each other. And they really like when he breaks his so there's a lot of gay and bisexual subtext. Like he has an older man who picks him up when he's 16 and sort of nurtures him, that he breaks off with because he's like, oh, you're getting too old. And
Murray Hamilton's character is very explicitly gay. Like he's the kind of the foppish guy that he like challenges in the middle of the movie. Yeah.
Well, and he and George C. Scott is also playing this character of where he's both the love interest of Fast Eddie and the rival of Piper Laurie, because he keeps the way he wants to control Fast Eddie in this very manipulated, controlling sensibility where he's driving a wedge between him and his girlfriend.
Yeah.
Because he wants to own and control Paul Newman.
He's the Iago of this. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Sorry,
He's
we are
the
getting
Iago.
very high tone. I'm sitting here talking about a talking parrot over here.
Yeah. Also, the scene where he tries to hustle some hustlers and ends up with his thumbs broken. When I watched with my husband, who hadn't seen this before, he thought he was being raped.
I thought that too.
100%.
I thought that
I
too.
felt so
It's
too.
really shot that way of like, oh, something terrible is happening behind him.
Yeah.
We just see him sort of pushed up against some glass and so they're breaking his thumbs. That's fucking terrible. But it really has that like, oh, this is a gang of creepers and they're about to do creepy shit.
Yeah.
And you're right that it's kind of revealing his true nature because like he is not good at being a con man. Like he cuts too high of a profile. He's too much of a showman. Like everybody knows who he is when he shows up. The point of being a good pool hustler, and I speak from zero experience because I'm terrible at pool, but the point of being a pool hustler is like you show up and you act like you're bad, and then oh wait, no, let me try again. I think I understand the game now. Double or nothing, and then you're good.
Something I really love. Sorry, Justin, you go first, and then I'll go.
I think he actually is good at it.
Oh, he's great at it. Yeah.
Minnesota Fats breaks him
Mm.
because when he was doing, there's some scenes of him pulling things over on people before Minnesota Fats, and him and his partner in crime are killing it. They are raking in the cash. But then once he loses to Minnesota Fats, the very next time he tries it, one, everybody's recognizing him because he lost his composure. He made himself known as to what he's trying to do. And then also, even when he does get away with it, he's different when he's doing it.
Yeah.
He's a little more aggressive. He's a little more forceful. He's a little more apparent of what he's trying to do. And he doesn't get away with it. As we mentioned, he gets his thumbs broken because they clearly realize what he's been doing and try to get back at him for it.
Yeah.
And that's kind of like his journey of like he was really good at something, and he even talks so much about how when he's on top of things, it's like the best feeling in the world.
Right.
And then he for the first time, presumably in a while, he gets kicked back down to the level playing field. He finds somebody who's better than him at what he's doing, and that crushes him for most of the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think it's really interesting the way they portrayed alcoholism. I feel like there's a level of reality because both Fast Eddie and Sarah Pickard, there are times when they refuse alcohol and when you can see the other person get worried that they're refusing alcohol, that they're being sober, as though their partner being sober puts them on their back foot. And I found that to be very authentic, and like a very interesting and a fucking master stroke in the way they portrayed alcoholism.
Oh my God. And just the different levels that you see them at. I love the contrast of like Minnesota Fats orders a fancy whiskey with like on ice with a fancy glass or something. He's very specific about his order. And then Paul Newman's like, just bring me vodka, like no glass, just give me the bottle and I'm just going to swig from it. That one is a man who is very much in control. He's a connoisseur. He is he is a man of taste and refinement, and he has control over the drinking. And the other is just a man who will drink anything because he's a slave to his obsessions.
And it's not just obsessions, it's also they're treating their anxiety with alcoholism.
Yes.
And so like you see that him be able to hold it together for a while, but when his nerves really start to get him, he succumbs to it. When the Sarah Pickard is at the party and she's an introvert and she's in this incredibly this incredibly loud and chilling party, she becomes stumbling drunk because she just can't deal with having all these people around her. And like and it's really interesting that to see the juxtaposition of the way that they handle it. And at that time when she's drunk, Fast Eddie was sober. And
Yeah.
so it was definitely, it was like a really a very codependent relationship.
Mm,
And I
Yeah,
think you
extremely.
mentioned that they do alcoholism so well.
Yeah.
I think they do gambling addiction so well that you have to think about it to realize that, oh, this is a gambling addiction.
Yeah.
He constantly, whenever he's down, he's like, I just need one more chance. I just need enough money for one more go at it. When he's talking to Bert for the first time, really the first time they have a conversation about how he's trying to get back at Minnesota Fats, Bert goes, what do you think you need? And he's like, I just need $1,000. I need enough for one game that the bets that we were making to get back at Minnesota Fats and get back in and get it done. And then Bert goes, you need like $3,000 minimum.
Yeah.
Like, he's looking at it from a more realistic perspective, whereas we're seeing somebody who has not only other motivations, but also, I think, a gambling addiction, who's just like, I need one more,
Yeah.
and then I got it.
Well, yeah, and he meets up with Bert again at a card game. He's not a card player. We haven't seen him
No.
play cards. This is like the only way he knows how to get money is gambling, I guess. Or it's just I think it's just an addiction.
Yeah.
I agree.
And
Yeah.
they at one point he loses $18,000. I just ran the inflation calculator on that to see what that would be now in 1961 dollars. So today 18,000 in 1961 would now be $192,000 in one night of gambling.
Oh my god.
He has a problem. He has a serious problem.
How much did you say that was in period?
In 1961, it was $18,000.
Yeah, he goes up like 13, 14,000 at one point. I think maybe even a little more.
Yeah.
And gets advised, hey, this is when the smart time would be to cash out.
Right.
And he goes, nah, I'm going for more, and then loses it all. He could have lived well for years, presumably, because things were also a little easier than in general. But like, most people can live 3 to 4 years off $100,000, $100,000 plus. He could have set himself up very nicely for a little while, and he chose not to. He's like, no, I need to keep going until I feel like I've truly won.
Yeah.
So I did like this movie. However, I do have some reservations that, just like as a modern person, you're just like, God damn it. And I really have to say that, like, I do find it super annoying that the promiscuous alcoholic woman, the only woman ostensibly, I believe that maybe a waitress has a speaking line, the only woman with an actual speaking part in the dies by suicide after banging his girlfriend, her boyfriend's manager. And second thing, I don't know about a hot tin roof. I don't know what is going on. Those fucking nightgowns are so beautiful. Oh my God. It's so elegant. Those slips and those nightgowns. Oh my God. But yeah,
as beautiful as the ones in Manos Hands of Fate.
Manos Hands of Fate have their own charms. Those nightgowns, those negligees have their own charm. This movie could have been better with lady wrestling. But and so I can see it. And I do think for its own sake, I think it would have been interesting to see Paul Newman or Fast Eddie come back to the room knowing his significant other banged his manager. I would have liked to have seen what that happened, like how that would have happened. I just feel like it's at the time, like you always murder the interesting women. It's just like, no film is perfect, but I'm just a little like, God damn it.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough because she bangs Bert because of her self-destructiveness. But also, you could argue she's getting fridged by this movie because it ends up being the thing that sort of galvanizes Fast Eddie in the end. This is the thing that fixes him, question mark?
Yeah, it does fix him.
To your point, J-Ben, the IMDb lists 3 women credited in this movie, and one of them is credited as waitress, and one of them is credited as girl with a fur coat, and then we have Sarah Packard. We have one named woman in this movie, and the fact that the other 2 are unnamed, and I think also one of them is uncredited, I think means that there is like one other woman who has a line.
Probably.
Yeah, I think one waitress is like, yeah, she left earlier.
Yeah, something like that.
That's it.
Yeah,
That's it. There are no women, and there are very
but that
few
passes
people
the
of color.
Bechdel test. I'm just saying.
Does it?
No, it doesn't.
They have to talk. The women have to talk.
They need to
each
have a
other.
conversation. You're right. Yeah,
Yes.
you're right. I forgot that stuff.
Without it being about the man.
Yeah, and a couple people of color walk by occasionally. And Minnesota Facts has the guy who seems to be acting as his valet, like always helps him with his coat on and everything. And I was like, okay.
I want one of those guys. I just want a guy who hangs around, helps me put a coat on, and then I whisper stuff to him every once in a while.
What would you whisper?
Probably just like horseradish, and just see what he does. Yeah.
I would just be like, I would, if I had a person, if I was rich enough to have wait staff or anything, I would just be like, so what are you eating for dinner later? Like, how's your day going? Just like nonsensical. I say nonsensical, but just like random conversations where like at a private function, I'm just like, oh, what'd you eat for breakfast?
I feel like if that was Downton Abbey, it would be a lot less spicy. I think it'd be very friendly and very pleasant. I think it'd be a lot less spicy. You need a little upstairs, downstairs conflict.
To the game.
Let's move to the game because there's a lot of it.
To the game. All right. So we've talked about. We've talked about this movie as being, this drama about losers and addiction and sadness and self-loathing and all that. It screams video game.
Obviously, this is the thing you make a video game on. Now, this one took a little bit of investigating, and I'm going to let the listeners decide how much of this counts as like an adaptation of this game. If anybody's out there keeping score and wants to penalize me, you can. But the game we are talking about today, excuse me, is called Minnesota Fats Pool Legend. It was released on May 1995. It was published and developed by Data East, and it was released on the Sega Genesis and the Sega Saturn. This might have one of the more tenuous connections to a movie that we've covered so far, but I found the tendrils of it just so fascinating that it was worth kind of doing this whole episode. This is
coming right off the foothills of Lord of the Rings, where one of them is, we watched the movie because technically they made one video game about this movie, and it was technically not about the movie. It was about the book instead.
Right.
So we're really hitting it.
But again, I stand by the fact it would have been insane to just do the second 2 movies. You can't not watch the first Lord of the Rings movie. It's insane. That's nuts. Accurate. That feels wrong. All right. But of course, Minnesota Fats is the character played by Jackie Gleason in this movie. And he's depicted as this kind of unflappable and brilliant pool player. But there was a real Minnesota Fats, or at least there kind of was. Big asterisk there.
I think this is such bullshit. I think this is a talented pool player who's all like, and a hustler who's like, cha-ching.
Yes.
I'm going to change my name.
1,000,000%. The person in question is a man named Rudolph Walter Wanderone. He was a New York-based pool hustler who was, for a period, probably the best-known professional pool player in America, despite the fact that he never won a professional tournament, and a lot of his notoriety was based on his name. All right, so here's the story. Here's the timeline. Track it with me. This is all very confusing. In his early hustling days, he went by the name New York Fats, sometimes known as Brooklyn Fats, Chicago Fats, or Triple Smart Fats. Either way, he was comfortable with his body, and I love that. Amongst other nicknames, so Wanderone claims that Walter Tevis used him as the inspiration for the character Minnesota Fats in his novel. And so after the film version came out and proved to be a hit, Juan Derone formally adopted the name Minnesota Fats to kind of draft off the success of the film, which we should mention was a big hit, nominated for 7 Oscars. Didn't really, it did. A lot of people still think that Paul Newman should have won, which is why when he finally did win, it was 25 years later for the movie The Color of Money, which is a sequel to The Hustler, a much more kind of commercial film, I would say. Not a bad film at all. A really fun one. It's a Martin Scorsese film with Paul Newman and young Tom Cruise. And so a lot of people kind of consider that sort of a makeup Oscar for Newman. It's like he should have gotten it for this one. Here's him later, still playing Fast Eddie. Let's give it to him.
That's the funniest thing, is that he had gotten an honorary Oscar the year before.
Right. Yeah.
And he was like, fuck you, I'm earning one.
I'm still competitive.
Hey, I'm still Fast Eddie. Deal with it.
And he got a few more nominations after this too. He still kept going. But that was just a little diversion. If you haven't checked out The Color of Money, worth watching. Very different movie, still very worth watching.
Yeah.
So here's kind of where things get a little complicated. Juan Derone, and this is coming from every person who's ever loved him, is a liar. I believe the technical term is fabulist. He's a guy who likes to spin yarns. He's a big character. He's a big personality. He likes to hold court and tell stories and self-promote. Muhammad Ali once said that Fats was the better boaster, that he was more self-aggrandizing than him. So
you have to think
I feel
again.
like the real movie about this man is not The Hustler, but it's Big Fish.
It's a little Big Fish. It's a little Catch Me If You Can. Yeah.
You, again, even without any of that said, these are things being said by a man whose entire job was hustling people in pool to make money.
Yes.
So his credibility starts off a little low.
It doesn't help that the guy who was the technical advisor for the film The Hustler was a pool champion by the name of Willie Mosconi, who is known as kind of one of the great trick shot champions of all time, which is he's doubling for Newman in a lot of these shots, when you're going over his shoulder.
Oh, yeah, he's doubling for Newman, but Jackie Gleason did all his wide shots.
Oh, he sure fucking did.
Yeah.
That good at pool.
That man was incredible. So the thing is, Willie Mosconi had a lifelong rivalry with Rudolph Juan Derone. So you could understand why the so-called Minnesota Fats would want to take a little bit of the piss out of his rival's project. Either way, he took the name Minnesota Fats. It stuck, and he was able to parlay that into a pretty successful career. He managed to blur the lines between fiction and reality in a way that makes it all very weird, especially in the fact that as he got older, he really started to resemble in both look and tone Jackie Gleason. And I don't know if it was an affectation, but we see a little bit of footage of him in this video game. He is very much doing a Jackie Gleason thing. He's blustering and he's trying to do the physical comedy. He's 85 years old when we're seeing him in this game, but he's still trying to do that.
And
my God.
While there is some tenuous things where it's okay, it could be possible that he was the basis of the character. Also, exceptionally possible that he saw an opportunity, he took it, because again, I think we talked about it in person, but he, after this movie came out, began trying to parlay this into his own little media empire with a video game by going on talk shows and game shows and stuff as guest hosts and stuff.
Yeah. He starred in his own movie called The Player in 1971, which was kind of his version of The Hustler, and it's much trashier and I think a totally lost movie at this point. But he starred in a movie, and he was this big popular personality. He was on game shows all the time. He was on talk shows all the time.
Yeah, he was on the Tonight Show. He was parlaying it into that kind of thing, which is something that is not a unique thing for a person to do. And not totally out of the question. This happens literally all the time. And so the fact that somebody could it's just so hard to look at it and go, yeah, this was all rightfully his. Not that it was wrong for him to try to parlay this into a thing, like, you do you, chase the bag, whatever. It doesn't seem like he hurt anybody in doing so.
I don't know. It's one of those things.
What year did this video game come out?
1995. So he was 2 years away from death
when I was born.
Yeah.
Oh
How
my
dare you?
God.
How dare you? How dare you be born younger than me?
I graduated high school then.
Oh, he does this to us sometimes. You remember that old movie, Shrek? Yeah, stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
But-
okay, so Minnesota Fats pool legend. So they're licensing Rudolph Wanderone's likeness to make this game.
Yes.
Now, I did not play this game. I am not a gamer. I watched the opening cutscene, and the line between reality and fiction was blurred so much. I got so confused because they're saying, like, if you ask all world's greatest pool players and the average person, they'll all say that the greatest pool player is Minnesota Fats. But we know that Minnesota Fats is a fictional character who might be based on a guy who then took the name of the fictional character, but he is essentially a fictional character. So it's like saying the world's greatest pilot. Everyone knows the world's greatest pilot is Pete Maverick, whatever. Mitchell is last name, Mitchell. It's like, but that's a fictional guy. Well, he might be based on a real guy, but that guy's name is not Maverick.
He was starting the Minnesota Fast cinematic universe.
Exactly. It genuinely is. Yeah. That's what I find so fascinating about this, because this is kind of like a real-time archaeological experiment. It is an arms race to see who will be remembered longer, the real person or the fictional character. My money's on the fictional character.
Yeah.
But it's funny that this guy came along and blurred those lines so much that people are going to think that Minnesota Fats was a real guy, that Jackie Gleason was playing a real guy. And it's still kind of unclear about whether or not he is.
So I thought it was. So I played the game on handheld, and in that game, instead of playing pool, you play 9-ball.
Or
I
8
thought
ball.
was really, or no, it's 9-ball.
You can switch between both. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know you could switch between both.
Yeah. We haven't been talking about the game much. The game's kind of like nothing, but like fun nothing.
The game is functional. The game, it didn't enrage me the way Lord of the Rings, like the Fellowship of the Rings did. It was like, I play pool, you play pool. There's really weird cutscenes with women with very dated haircuts.
And that I think it's this. I think that's the whole thing, is that it's, imagine a pool game in 1995, and then imagine their full video cutscenes of a guy who's trying to make this character real, and what would this character be involved in? What would make this cool? Okay, women.
But it's also like, it's a biography of him at the beginning of the cutscene, and then it's him playing himself going through his adventures. And weirdly, this is the first time on our show, I think, that we've encountered FMV, or full motion video. This was a real era of this time. Like a lot of, especially as like CD-ROM games were starting to come into prevalence. Everybody thought, we need to get some real life footage of it. It's going to be a 1p, and it's going to be the size of a postage stamp, and it's going to have the worst acting you've ever seen in your life. But God damn it, it will be video on a disc. So they were really pushing that for a long time. It's funny that this is kind of crammed into this very silly pool game, which is otherwise like, you ask me what I want from a billiards-based video game. This is all of it, I guess. It's not a question I would have thought of, because a lot of places that have video games also have billiards in there too, and vice versa. So if you just want to play billiards, you can do that.
So does the game have a plot? Are you trying to go beat Minnesota Fats?
Well, you are Minnesota Fats.
You are
and
Minnesota
you're in the Saturn version, at least. It opens with Minnesota Fats talking to his young protege and saying, I want you to take this money and go win this tournament. And the protege screws him over. So it's basically Minnesota Fats going on a revenge tour through all the pool halls of the Midwest, trying to chase down this guy. And you just pop up at different bars and like people spout one-liners at you. There's a sassy lady in a leopard print skirt and a kind of fancy looking guy with the shaggy hair.
And so this is where maybe a little bit of the confusion came from. The Genesis version that me and J-Band played on handheld was different. In that one, you are a protege of his, working your way up.
Oh, so that one, he's more of like the Mike Tyson in Mike Tyson's Punch Out. He's the title character, but he's also the final boss.
Yes, you are you're a rookie player who is trying to get to Minnesota Fats' level and challenge him, and then you get sent on this journey that involves kind of similar style encounters until you get there. And so that is also a wild thing to do for something like this. Not only is it kind of a wild thing to make this video game, but then they made 2 separate video games at the same time.
They're pretty different. Technically, this is part of an arcade series from Data East called Side Pocket. This is technically, the Japanese name for this is called Side Pocket 2 Legend of the Hustler. So they're, again, making it even blurrier. But, I think this is a perfectly decent little like game. It feels like a barroom game or something that you just like can pay half attention to. It's pretty self-explanatory. It's like a power meter that goes up and down. You stop it when it's highest if you want to get your shot. There's a little bit of complexity if you want to like manipulate where you're hitting your ball and the like certain angles and stuff like that. But it's not too terribly complicated and it works for what it is. I think I just find it more fascinating as this cultural object that is blurring the lines of fantasy and reality in a way that you would not expect from something like The Hustler.
Yeah, it's less interesting how it is and more interesting that it is.
Exactly right. Yeah.
That's the thing I don't understand. Like, why bother bringing Minnesota Fats into this?
Money.
I guess recognition.
Bring in
Most
the
people aren't
second most
gonna know.
popular pool player. I don't know who would that be.
They're not going to know that it's a fictional character. And they probably think that the character in the movie is based on this guy because he's been on the Johnny Carson show. So. Yeah, we couldn't look this shit up back then.
Supposedly, the reception at the time was okay. Like, it wasn't like, oh, this is a terrible game. It was like, yeah, it was an okay pool game. The rest of it was kind of weird, but it was a pool game.
There are not a lot of pool games, Well, we can wrap this up by ranking the movie and the game. So each week we rank our games on a scale of good movie, good game to bad movie, bad game, or some variation in between. J-Ben, why don't you start us off?
Great movie, and I thought I had fun playing the game. It's a functional pool game, so like I'm not gonna seek it out, but like if I'm bored and I could play it on my phone, I probably perhaps might. So yeah, high praise.
There you go. Very high praise. Blurb on the cover. Maybe, perhaps. I play it on my phone. Kinda. If everything else is broken. Yeah. I take it. Justin, how about you?
Yeah, no, I think it was a very good movie. I thoroughly enjoyed it and do recommend it. I think the game was a game. Nothing really stood out. Nothing was terrible.
That's your one for the year.
Oh.
I think that's like my third of this year of calling something a game.
Right. Yeah. This movie was a movie.
I mean, it was a moderately competent pool game with whatever added on top.
Fair enough. Diana, how about you? Where do you come down on this one?
Great movie. I watched the cutscenes for the game and I loathe full motion video. I understand this was part of the evolution of video games, but the idea of like sitting down to play this and having to watch these cutscenes, which I'm guessing were not skippable. Would have been miserable. So
we also we didn't have the Sega Saturn version, so we watched a playthrough of it, And I think at one point J-Ban went, "Is this a movie or the game?"
It goes
Like, what
on
are we
for a long.
here?
There's like fully like 40 minutes of footage in this game.
Oh
And
my
it's
God.
crazy.
Yep.
we
Oh,
kind of
something I did not mention. I
Oh.
ran a timer watching the movie because
Ooh.
Minnesota Fats is such a big thing, and I remembered him being in not much of the movie, but I ran a timer. It's half an hour, about 33 minutes of Minnesota Fats scenes.
and this is
It's a pretty meaty
full-
supporting role. Yeah.
Yeah,
This is a full 2-hour movie.
it's
Yeah.
a 2 hour 15-minute movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, but I remembered the opening stuff with him being even smaller, and that it really is just sort of bookending the movie. But no, that first marathon game, it's 20 minutes.
He
The
doesn't
end
have
though
much
is
dialogue.
very short. The end goes real fast though.
It does. Yeah. He's much more assured. But yeah, no, Minnesota Fats in a lot of the movie doesn't talk a lot.
Nope.
Yeah, maybe a dozen lines of dialogue. But for me, I'm coming down. A great movie. Loved it. Really happy to revisit it. I am going to check out Color of Money again because it's probably been about as long as I've seen this since I've seen that. And I remember that being a really fun movie. Going to check it out. I highly recommend people seek this movie out. I'm so heartened that like Justin, you really connected with it and that like you found something. And J-Ban as well. I'm glad you guys were able to kind of find this movie. And
I have one more
Oh,
thing.
please.
I have an exclusive for your listeners.
ooh,
Yes. So back in the day, I worked in corporate event planning where we would have speakers, that you would pay a speakers bureau to get.
right.
And one of the events I was working at, the speaker was Colin Powell. And
Really? Okay.
And these people, they tend to travel under different names when you get them a hotel room, just to make things easier on. He traveled under the name Edward Felson.
Yeah.
And I was the only one who got it. And I was just sitting there like, oh my God, I get to book a hotel room for Fast Eddie. And everyone's like, what?
That's so
And I'm like,
fun.
so there, exclusive.
Exclusive. Colin Powell was a movie dork.
Yep.
Love to hear it. Well, Diana, thank you so much for being here. Oh my God, it's always
Oh,
a
thank
delight
you.
to have you on. I'm glad we were able to find a movie that was like kind of perfectly suited to your taste. Since we already did the insane Vertigo episode,
What?
stay away from that game.
Yeah,
If you think
please
characters
do.
in Vertigo should be too afraid to get out of their bed and should know what a smartphone looks like,
It's
then
like
avoid it
instead of
entirely.
Vertigo, they made Paranoia, and
Yeah,
What?
terrible game.
I'm
Um,
so confused.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Don't even bother. But do please bother telling us where we can find all of your stuff.
Well, you can find me on Blue Sky at ListenNerd, LeCineNerd, or you can find me on 302010 every week or whenever it is we manage to put out those episodes where we look at movies, TV, music, whatever from 30 years ago, 20 years ago, and 10 years ago, which means 95, 05, and 15. And dang, is 95 been fun.
95's a banger. 95's
Wow.
a banger.
We didn't realize that it's Dad Movie Central. Crimson Tide right into Apollo 13, man. That is
Oh shit.
Hell
Apollo
yeah.
15 is coming up. Oh my
hell
God.
yeah.
Oh yeah. Amazing. I'm a long time, like almost day one listener of 302010. I love the show. So it's been cool that I get to podcast with the crew so often, and it's really fun. And we love having you on. So thank you so much. And we lost J-Man. She will be back. But next week, we are going to be talking about the fourth film in our John Goodman series. We've had 3 games so far where we play as the John Goodman. We are now playing the fourth. There's at least 3 more that I can think of.
Finally, Barton Fink the game. God dang.
Finally. No, we are going to be playing Monsters Inc. Disney Pixar's Monsters Inc. So I'm excited to get back into our
Did
Disney
he actually
coverage.
do voicing for the game?
I don't know if he's doing the voice, but we are playing a John Goodman character.
Can I ask the others? The other Flintstones is going to be one of them. What?
Flintstones is one of them.
What else?
Blues Brothers 2000.
Oh no!
They made a game. And Arachnophobia.
Oh, I didn't know there was a game of that.
So, J-Ben, you missed out the announcement of the next episode. Continuing our John Goodman-a-thon, we're playing Monsters, Inc.
Ooh,
Yeah.
nice.
So just an absolute delight of a Pixar movie, PlayStation 1 game I have not played before. So we will check that out. And we'll sharpier listeners write in and let us know what you think the next 2 John Goodman games are going to be, because there are at least 2 more. So let's see how good as sleuths you are. All right, everybody, we will see you next week for Monsters Inc. Thank you all for listening.